So you're in this class called English 090, and you know it's about composition, and you've wondered about composition. So let's talk a little bit about what is an essay. First of all, is essay writing or composition or academic writing an art, or is it a craft? If you always felt like you weren't particularly a gifted writer, you may be real sure that you're not Shakespeare. You don't expect to be publishing poetry anytime soon, or plays, or even writing great novels. That's cool, because the reality is that writing, as we talk about it, is much more a craft than it is an art. It's something that can be learned, and indeed, everybody that goes to college learns to write academically well enough to get through college. So you should be reassured by that. Now, it's a craft partly because the process of writing is like any other craft. It has steps to it. Um, if you're going to be a woodworker, you learn that you first have to choose your lumber, and then you have to very carefully prepare it and develop the plans and so on and so forth. Writing, academic writing, is like that too. You always have to first start with the hardest part, which is thinking about what you want to write and thinking very carefully. Academic writing is not like playing ping pong or talking across the table in McDonald's. It's not a back and forth, off the top of your head, snappy answer kind of thing at all. It starts with thinking deeply, probably reading a lot, considering lots of people's opinions, and then thinking some more, and then finally coming up with your topic and a point of view on your topic. So step one is the thinking step. Step two is called pre-writing. And pre-writing may be as simple as knocking the idea around with a friend. I think I might be going to write about choosing a good secondhand car or whatever, and then just letting the discussion create some ideas in your mind. Or you might want to put pencil to paper for the first time in the pre-writing stage. Put your topic in the middle of paper, draw a circle around it, and then just start randomly taking notes about everything that comes to your mind when you think about the topic. That's the pre-writing phase, and there's some others that are mentioned in your book that you can look at. After you've completed pre-writing, then you actually sit down and put something on paper or draft it for the first time. So there's the pre-writing stage, then there's drafting. And then once you have a draft completed, you go through a review process that you can do on your own, or frequently writers like to have a peer review. Let somebody else read it. Let them think about it. Find out from them what works for you and what didn't work, what questions they may have, any suggestions they may have before you rewrite the thing or revise it. And then finally, only after you've been through that revision stage and you think you've got it about as well organized and as well explained as you possibly can, then you may go into the last stage. And this is only at this point that you do try to copy edit or final edit what you've written. And that's a lot like the last stage once you've built bookshelves. It's when you get out the sandpaper and the glue and the varnish and make it as pretty as you can. That's the process approach to writing, and that's what we'll be looking at this semester. Now, what is an essay? Well, it's a kind of composition, and I sort of think of them as being the same thing. Essay comes from the French verb essayer, which means to try. So an essay is an attempt, it's an effort at expressing your particular point of view about a topic. And because you are you and everybody is different, your essay is a unique point of view. It's the results of your thought and your analysis and your reflection. And it also has a little bit of a tentative flavor to it, because we all know that if you think further, if you read more, if you discover new information, you may in fact develop a different point of view. So the key is originality, but there's also the flavor that this may not be a final conclusion. What an essay is not. Number one, you don't write essays about things that are trivial or commonly known. Uh, what I did last summer when it worked in the second grade is not really an essay. It's taking a subject that has multiple viewpoints about it, where there is no final understanding, and examining it from your point of view. So an essay is not trivial. It's not commonly known. It's not simply news, which is as objective a statement of facts that you can come up with, because an essay is a point of view. It's not just facts. Neither is it a book report or a business report or any other kind of report, because it has that "this is my opinion" aspect of it. It's not fiction. It's not poetry. It's not a play. And it's not song lyrics. What an essay is something that starts with you, your point of view, your perspective. You are unique. You have a point of view that's different from anybody else's in the world. And that's part of what reading essays makes them fun, is that you learn a lot about the person, and having learned a lot about the writer, you understand what they've written differently. In this particular picture that's here, one's perspective is from down low, looking up. And when you look at something from down low, it changes the proportions of things. In this case, you can see that the skateboard looks a lot bigger than it probably really is. So that's a perspective or a point of view that somebody has. And that somebody is probably like this kid, this little guy down on the ground with a camera looking up at his big brother. That's what he would see. Or if he held up his own airplane, it would look huge from his point of view. So you're not a little kid, but like a little kid or any other adult who is seasoned and distinct, you have a different point of view, and your essays will reflect your point of view on a subject. Now, an essay is a specialized kind of writing. As I said, it asserts or takes a point of view, and it takes a strong position. It's not just a discussion of something. It's this is what I think about this subject. And it's what you think, having asked yourself and others a research type of question. Okay, so that this is what's going on in the lake environments in Michigan. So what are the implications of that? What do I need to believe about this? So you ask the question, you do some research, and you come up with your point of view on the subject. And again, a report is not an academic essay. That happens often. People get very exhaustive in the information that they give me, but they forget that an essay takes a strong position. It has an opinion that is expressed. It is not saying, I think that blah, 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 or in my opinion, blah, 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 because the very nature of an essay is that it is a personal expression of somebody's opinion. Your name is up at the top, so anybody that reads it knows that it is your opinion. You just say, you make a statement. The conditions of the lakes around Michigan is disastrous for the future of the country, or is much better than people make it out to be. You state your opinion in an assertive kind of way. It's like a fact. And as I said, essays have that kind of investigative, informative flavor. They talk about what is known versus what may be thought or questioned about a subject. So you wouldn't bother doing that with something that was very trivial. When you get ready to choose a topic and you've got an idea about the area you're going to write about, you'll ask yourself a number of questions about this particular topic. You might want to pause and take a moment to look at these questions, maybe even print them out for yourself. And then there's some other questions. You might want to reflect also on What would be the opposite perspective of the one that you're thinking about? What don't you know about your topic? What do you need to learn more about before you're really prepared to write? How do you find that out? Sometimes you find that it's difficult to find additional information. You may actually have to do some personal interviewing. You usually will have to go to the college library. You may ask the advice of a research librarian, and there are those at the college, and you can talk with them in person if you go to the library, or you can talk to a research librarian online at Pikes Peak Community College. After you've done all that research, then you can ask, so what do I think now? And why do I think that? Only then are you actually ready to prepare your thesis statement and begin to write.